Welcome friends once again for the introduction lecture and overview of the second year intermediate accounting, which will be useful for both Telangana students studying intermediate second year, also Andhra students. I will be presenting a brief overview of some topics in accounting such as single entry, non-trading concerns, partnership, consignments. These are the topics I will be covering as an introduction, and in detail as we enroll for these lessons we can learn in detail. First, in the single entry we could study three different models which are reflected on the slide here. The first model can be where we are supposed to prepare opening statement of affairs to find out opening capital. Assets minus liabilities will give us opening capital. The second statement is closing statement of affairs to find out closing capital. So model 1, I am talking about model 1, opening statement to find out opening capital, closing statement to find out closing capital, and third statement is the statement of profit and loss. It is reflected here with us, and so all these three should be calculated. Opening statement for opening capital, closing statement for closing capital, statement of profit and loss. This is model 1. In model 2, sometimes the opening capital is given. If opening capital is given, we need not prepare opening statement. If opening capital is given, we need not prepare opening capital. We have to prepare the other two, that is closing capital statement to find out closing capital, statement of profit and loss to find out profit or loss. These are the two things that we should prepare. So model 1 all three, model 2 only 2. In model 3, where both the capitals are given, you are given the opening capital, you are given the closing capital, we need not prepare opening statement, we need not prepare closing statement, we must prepare only the statement of profit and loss. So anyone who is thorough with all these three models, that is model 1 where you have to prepare all the three, model 2 where you have to prepare only 2, model 1 where you have to model 3 where you have to prepare only the statement of profit and loss. If you are thorough with these three models, any model given to you, you can find out the statement of profit and loss, you will get 5 marks. The second topic, which is a 10-mark question which I wanted to discuss with you, is the non-trading concern. The non-trading concern, let us begin with what do you mean by non-trading concerns? Non-trading concerns by definition can include hospitals, schools, libraries, clubs, etc., which do not involve in business, at least by definition. We are going to be made aware of 3 accounts. One is receipts payments account, income expenditure account, and balance sheet. Generally, they may ask you to prepare a receipts payments account. Receipts payments account is like the cash book, where on the debit side we post all the receipts, the credit side we post all the payments. The receipts minus payments will give you cash balance or bank balance. One of the features of the receipts payments account in the non-trading concern is that you take all the receipts, all the payments, whether it is capital revenue, current year, next year, all those we take in the receipts payments account. You don't distinguish between capital and revenue. So receipts payments account is very simple. All receipts on the debit side, all the payments on the credit side, the difference will give you cash balance. It is shown on the slide here. What is the receipts payments account? This can be one problem. Sometimes in the problems at intermediate level, they give you receipts payments account and they ask you to prepare income expenditure account. What is the distinction between receipts payments account and income expenditure account. The first distinction is receipts payments account is, it does not distinguish between capital and revenue. Income expenditure account takes only revenue items. Income expenditure account is like your profit and loss account or nominal account. Debit side all expenses, credit side all incomes. So all your expenses you post on the debit side, all your incomes you post on the credit side. The difference will give you surplus or deficit. But what are the receipts you take, or what are the incomes you take, what are the adjustments that you need to make? We take only revenue and current incomes. What do you mean by revenue incomes? We take such as subscriptions, we take non-specific donations, we take other kinds of fees, membership fees, etc. These are the incomes. Hall rent, if it is having a hall, sale of newspaper, if it is having a ground, it has allowed cattle to graze, grazing fees, so on, all the incomes we are going to take under the income side. Under the expenditure side, on the debit side, we take salaries, we take rent, we take electricity, we take maintenance, we take depreciation, etc. The incomes minus expenses will give you a surplus. If the income is more, if the credit is more or the income is more, the debit is less, expenses are less, we get a surplus. Sometimes the reverse happens. The expenses are more. I am talking about the income expenditure account. The expenses are more. If the expenses are more, the incomes are less, it results in a deficit. So one should be very careful. So two accounts we have covered. Number one, receipts payments account, which is like a cash book and it's a real account. It does not distinguish between capital and revenue. All are posted, all receipts are posted on the debit side, all payments are posted on the credit side. The difference will give us cash balance or bank balance. After receipts payments account, generally based on receipts payments account, we are supposed to prepare a income expenditure account. Income expenditure account is a nominal account, or it is like a profit and loss account. Debit side all expenses, losses, credit side all incomes and gains. So incomes can be subscriptions, incomes can be through membership fees, incomes can be through non-specific donation, income can be through other kinds of fees such as hall rent, etc. Grazing fees, sale of newspaper, sale of assets, profit from sale of asset, etc. In the expenditure side, once again I repeat, salaries, maintenance, electricity, etc. The difference, if income is more, it is surplus. If income is less, expenses are more, it is a deficit. Some of the major adjustments that we should be aware is in the subscriptions, in the income expenditure account. Subscriptions you should adjust for current year only. What do you mean by current year? Supposing you are preparing for March 31st, 2020. In the income side, any subscription belonging to 2019, that is of last year, any subscription belonging to next year should be deducted in the income side. So subscription should be adjusted to current year subscription only. But if there is any outstanding subscription for the current year 2020 that we add, so we remove that of last year, we remove that of next year, any current year outstanding we add. This is a major adjustment to be made. Other than that, when we are preparing the income expenditure account, if there is any sale of asset, we compare the old balance sheet with the sale in the receipts payments account. If a building is sold whose value is 1 lakh for 1,50,000, there is a profit. That profit is shown as income in the income expenditure account. So one should know the link between old balance sheet, receipts payments account and income expenditure account. Similarly, if the building is shown as 1,50,000 but sold for 1 lakh, it's a loss. The loss should be shown on the expenditure side of the income expenditure. So first major adjustment is subscription. Second major adjustment is profit or loss on sale of asset that we should be aware of. Next important thing that we should be aware of is depreciation, and sometimes the usage of stock. Depreciation sometimes may not be given directly. They give you opening stock, they give you closing stock. The difference is depreciation or stock utilized. Similarly, sometimes donations we should be very careful. If no name is given, the donation should be treated as general donation taken as income in the income expenditure account. If a name is given, specific donation it is called, it should be shown on the liability side of the balance sheet. While that is the difference between receipts payment account and income expenditure account. Third is we are supposed to prepare the balance sheet. Most of the items in the old balance sheet can be taken directly and posted in the new balance sheet with adjustment for sale and depreciation. And the cash balance in the new balance sheet should be taken from the receipts payments account. The closing balance of the receipts payments account will be the balance which is posted in the new balance sheet. So you should know the connection between old balance sheet, receipts payments account, income expenditure account and new balance sheet, which we are going to learn in detail. In the balance sheet again, the liability side, capital fund. Capital fund, if it is given, then we straight away post adding surplus or deducting deficit. But if the capital fund is not given, we have to prepare the old balance sheet to find out the capital fund. Assets minus liabilities will give us capital fund. So we should know there are 4 accounts: old balance sheet, receipts payments account, income expenditure account and new balance sheet. If you see the connection between these 4, it is very easy for anyone to prepare, and this is for 10 marks. While this is regarding the non-trading concern, we will proceed with another aspect, that is in non-trading concern, entrance fee. Entrance fee, you can take it if it is not mentioned as the income in the income expenditure account. If it is to be capitalized, we take it on the balance sheet on the liability side. So this in a nutshell is about the non-trading concern. Please remember, old balance sheet will give us capital fund. Old balance sheet assets and liabilities, same we post in the new balance sheet with adjustment for sale, purchase, adjustments. After old balance sheet is given, we look for receipts payments account. From receipts payments account, old balance sheet, we prepare income expenditure account. Receipts payment, old balance sheet, receipts payments account, income expenditure account, we prepare the new balance sheet. How it is prepared, we are going to discuss in detail. The next and most important topic that we should learn is about partnership. Just like the first year accounting, partnership in second year accounting is a compulsory subject. You open the question paper, a 20 marks question will be there in the partnership. Some of the aspects that we should be aware of in the preparation of capital partnership is different kind of capital accounts we are going to display. Number 1 is the fixed method of maintaining capital account. In the fixed method of maintaining capital account, you write 2 accounts. One is capital account and current account. As the name itself indicates, fixed capital account, capital remains the same. All adjustments are made in the current account. So capital remains the same. That is called fixed capital method. The second method of maintaining capital is fluctuating. In fluctuating, we prepare the capital account with all adjustments. So capital is not fixed. It will change. The balance in the beginning will change. Why? Because you have made adjustments. So partnership, there are 2 ways of maintaining account. One is fixed method of capital, where 2 accounts are open, capital account and current account. Fluctuating method, where capital account is only open, capital may change. While this is regarding the basic information regarding the capital account, fixed method and capital fluctuating method. The partnership, many people will find it very tricky, some people find it difficult, but it's not so difficult. We are going to study the partnership as per the Telangana syllabus. Only two topics in partnership. Number one, admission of a partner. Number two is retirement of a partner. Now what do you mean by admission of a partner? Let me give you a simple example. Supposing there are three partners, A, B and C. C joins. A, B and C, D joins. The joining of D will make is called admission of a partner. And so we are going to have four parties henceforth, A, B, C and the new joining called D. Naturally, when a new partner is admitted, so many changes will occur. One of the changes which will occur is, earlier the profits are shared by ABC, now D is going to join, D is also going to get a share in the profits. That is called new profit sharing ratio. So we have to recalculate the method of profits, and that is called new profit sharing ratio. So first thing that we should learn is how to calculate the new profit sharing ratio, what is the sacrificing ratio, etc. Once we are familiar with that, in admission of a partner, there are three major steps that we should be aware. First step is in the preparation of the revaluation account. Second step is in the preparation of the capital account. Third step is in the preparation of the balance sheet. In revaluation, we mostly take changes in the assets and liabilities. Increase in the asset, now when a new partner is joining, we call as profit. We treat it as profit. Decrease in an asset, we take it as loss. Similarly, decrease in a liability, we take it as profit on revaluation. Increase in a liability, we take as loss. So we make a comparison between increase of assets, decrease of assets, decrease of liabilities, increase of liabilities, and finally, if the profits are more, we call it as profit on revaluation. What is the profit? Increase in asset and decrease in liability. What is the loss? Decrease in asset, increase in liability. We make a comparison. Whatever profit we get, we share it to the old partners. I'm being very clear, we share the profit on revaluation to old partners only. Earlier we had ABC, now we are going to have ABCD. The next step in the admission of a partner, we are going to prepare the capital accounts. Now we could prepare capital accounts simultaneously. ABCD, all columns on the debit side, ABCD, all columns on the credit side. Capital accounts can be prepared simultaneously. Now we begin with by balance of ABC, because earlier they were having some balance. The same thing is carried forward. The new partner D will only have by cash, one credit entry, that's all, nothing else. So old partners ABC by balance, any profit on revaluation by profit on revaluation, any distribution of general reserve by general reserve to ABC. Then if they are going to get anything else, the new partner has bought by way of goodwill, that we are going to distribute. And so this credit side total is posted to the debit side. Two balance A, B, C and D. In case of D, only one entry, that is capital brought by him. The new profits of A, B, C, D is shown on the credit side after totaling or balancing of the account. By balance, A balance, B balance, C balance, D balance remains the same. And so first we prepare the revaluation account, second we are preparing the capital account as shown in the slide. Third, we are going to prepare the balance sheet. Balance sheet, all assets as they are the same we carry, except that there may be a change in the cash balance. If the new partner, that is D, has brought any cash balance, we are going to add in the cash book. Same is posted. The cash balance may change. All other things will remain the same, such as debtors, building, machinery, furniture, etc., unless there is a change accepted by the old partners which is shown in the revaluation. If there is an increase, that is shown in the new balance sheet. If there is a decrease, we are showing in the new balance sheet. That is appreciation and depreciation. Similarly, liability side of the balance sheet, we are going to begin the capital accounts of A, B, C, D. In this case, we are using the word A, B, C, D. In some other case, it may be X, Y, Z. It may be Ram, Sham, whoever. Once the capital accounts are posted, creditors, any loans, bills payable, adjusted liabilities, increase or decrease, are going to be posted. With that, we finish the admission of a partner. Remember the 4 points. Number 1, calculation of the new profit sharing ratio, which can be shown as the working note. More importantly, we are going to prepare the revaluation account. We are going to prepare the capital account. We are going to prepare the balance sheet. And if these 3 or 4 steps are followed, one can easily get the balance sheet tallied, and it's very simple. The second part for our discussion in the partnership is retirement of a partner. What do you mean by retirement of a partner? Let's go back to our old example. A, B, C are there. C does not want to continue. Either he is tired, or he is not interested, or he is leaving the place. He has decided not to continue the partnership. In this case also, if C leaves, A and B will be the continued partners. They calculate the new profit sharing ratio. Earlier they had to share with C. Now they are going to share the profits only with A and B. So new profit sharing ratio should be calculated. The 3 accounts which we discussed earlier, revaluation account, capital account, new balance sheet, will remain the same. Revaluation account will post, just like we discussed earlier, increase in an asset, decrease in a asset, decrease in a liability, increase in a liability. Now, increase in asset, decrease in liability is profit. Loss is decrease in asset, increase in a liability. We compare the increases, profits, decreases profit as posted here, and we can know whether the partners are making any profit on revaluation. What do you mean by profit? Again I repeat, increase in asset is a profit, decrease in liability is a profit. What do you mean by loss? Decrease in asset is a loss, increase in a liability is a loss. We make a comparison. If the profits are more, losses are less, it's profit on revaluation. Profit on revaluation is transferred to all the partners, that is A, B, C in this case, in the profit sharing ratio. Once revaluation account is opened over, we have calculated the profit, we go for preparation of the capital accounts again. We post capital accounts A, B, C. In this case, C is retiring on the debit side and the credit side. Capital accounts we always begin with by balance. A balance, B balance, C balance. Any profit they have gained by profit on revaluation, credit side, A, B, C. Any general reserve they want to distribute, by general reserve to ABC, anything etc., anything else on the credit side. The same is total and posted on the debit side. To balance, we have got the new balances of ABC. Now, the retiring partner is C. The retiring partner, if he opts for taking away, he can take away the entire cash. C can take away the entire cash. From the existing cash balance, A and B should give that money to C. This is one method. Second method, C does not want to take the cash, but at the same time he is not continuing as the partner. His amount he is leaving is treated as loan amount. His amount is treated as loan amount. So when we say to balance A and B, in case of C, we will say to loan account. So this is how we are going to treat the capital accounts of A, B, C. You either pay him or treat the amount as loan amount. The third case, how you can treat C who is retiring, is partially you can pay him from the existing cash balance, and partial amount will be treated as loan amount. So one is revaluation account, second one is capital balance account, third is the new balance sheet that we are going to prepare. The new balance sheet, when we prepare, assets which were there in the old balance sheet, same as it is, we copy down, except cash balance. Cash balance can be the same if C has not taken the amount. If C has taken the amount, we are going to reduce the cash balance. If C is going to take partially the amount, to that extent cash balance will reduce in the new balance sheet. Other assets will be posted as they are. Buildings appreciated or depreciated, debtors appreciated or depreciated, furniture, land, premises appreciated or depreciated, etc. Loans appreciated or depreciated are posted as it is. On the liability side, capital accounts A and B are posted on the liability side of the new balance sheet. C, if he is keeping it as loan amount, we treat it as loan amount. If you are paying him totally, C account will not appear. Other liabilities such as bills payable, loans, outstanding expenses will be posted in a normal balance sheet. This is how we are going to prepare the partnership accounts in case of the admission. Case 1 we have discussed, retirement case 2 we have discussed. The next chapter for our discussion, we should learn about depreciation. In depreciation, which is a very small topic for 5 minutes, we learn what do we mean by depreciation. Depreciation means loss or fall in the value of an asset. Naturally, when you use machinery, trucks, cars, furniture, how it was, what is the value 5 years back, it will not be there after 5 years. There are two methods under depreciation that we are going to learn. One is called straight line method, other one is called diminishing balance method. Straight line method is also called fixed installment method. Fixed installment method means if you calculated 1000 rupees, that is 10% on 10,000. If the value of an asset is 10,000, you have calculated 10%. 10% is 1000 rupees. First year it will be 1000, second year it will be 1000, third year it will be 1000, fourth year it will be 1000 depreciation. First year 10,000 minus 1000, 9000. Second year 9000 minus 1000, 8000. Third year 8000 minus 1000, 7000. Fourth year 7000 minus 1000, 6000. So that is why it is called straight line method or fixed installment method. We begin with the value of the asset on the debit side. To balance 10,000 at the end of first year, by depreciation 1,000, by balance 9,000. Second year we take to balance 9,000. Second year depreciation by depreciation 1,000, by balance 8,000. 9,000 is the total as shown in the slide. Third year to balance 8,000. Third year ending by depreciation 1,000, by balance 7,000, 8,000, 8,000. This is how we post in case of straight line method or fixed installment method. The same example if you were to take for diminishing balance method, where every year we take the depreciation on the returned on value. What do you mean by returned on value? Supposing the value of the asset is 10,000 as shown in the slide here. 10% of 10,000 is 1,000. First year 10,000 minus 1,000 is 9,000. Second year we calculate on 9,000, that is 900 rupees. 900 rupees. 9,000 minus 900 is 8,100. Third year we calculate on 8,100, that is 810 rupees. This is how we calculate. And so, if you were to post depreciation account or asset account as per diminishing balance method or returned on value method, we begin with to balance 10,000 first year, by depreciation first year, credit side 1,000, end of first year by balance 9,000, we make a total 10,000, 10,000. At the end of first year, the value of your asset is 9,000. We post on the debit side to balance 9,000. End of second year, By depreciation 900, by balance 8100, 9900, 9000, 9000. The value of your asset is 8100 at the end of second year. Third year, to balance 8100. Third year depreciation on 8100, 10% is 810, and the balance whatever is the amount we post, and that is the major difference between straight line method and diminishing balance method. These are the only simple methods that you have, unless we have problems where in between we have purchased an asset is sold. Those problems also we are going to discuss. For comparison, in the straight line method, first year, second year, third year we calculated depreciation 1000. In the diminishing balance method or return on value method, first year it was 1000, second year it is 900, third year it is 810 rupees. This is regarding the depreciation. We could have problems on sale, purchase, addition, sold in between, bought in between. Accordingly, in that particular year we add depreciation may change. Depreciation may increase if a new asset is purchased. Depreciation may decrease if a asset is sold, etc. This is regarding the depreciation topics. The last topic for our discussion is consignment. Let me just brief you what we mean by consignment. Consignment actually means it is a contract between two parties. Who are the two parties? The two parties are consignor and consignee. Consignor is the owner or principal. Consignee is the agent. Now, why does the owner want to appoint an agent that is consignee? You want to expand your business physically, it may not be possible for you to go to all places. So you appoint an agent who is the consignee. Risk is that of consignor. Commission is paid to the consignee. Now, there are two accounts which should be prepared in the books of consignor. One is consignment account, second one is consignee account. Consignment account is nominal account or profit and loss account. Debit side we post all expenses. We begin with to goods sent, to consignor expenses, to consignee expenses, to consignee commission. Credit side by consignee for sales. Difference will give us profit or loss. Consignment account is a nominal account and profit and loss account. It will give us profit or loss. In the books of consignor, we open another account called consignee account. Consignee account is to tell us what is the amount to due from consignee. What is the amount to due from consignee? The sale which is credited to consignment account is debited to consignee account. The commission paid to him is credited to the consignee account, and expenses made by him are also credited. Sale minus his commission and his expenses, the difference how much he should pay us will be shown in the consignee account. These are the two accounts that we should prepare. In the books of consignor, in the books of consignee, the second set, the consignee may prepare consignor account to tell how much balance he owes. One of the critical points that we should be aware of is there are two kinds of commission. First commission is normal commission, where a consignee sells, he is paid with an amount on sales. The second kind of commission is del credere commission. What is the difference? In case of the first normal commission, consignee will not be responsible for any bad debts. In case of the second kind of commission, any bad debts, anyone not paying for credit sales made by consignee will be held responsible. So this is in a nutshell about the accounts of the second year. I want to repeat once again. We discussed about single entry, which is for 5 marks, non-trading concern, which is for 10 marks, partnership account, which is for 20 marks, consignment account which is for 10 marks, and depreciation account which is for 5 marks. There is a choice between non-trading concern and consignment account. You can do either of these, you get 10 marks. In addition to this, we are supposed to learn the theory. Accounts is for 50 marks, theory is for 50 marks. So with this, I welcome you into the learning. Anyone who can follow or learn topics very carefully, which we are going to present in detail, and we are going to also have doubt clarification session. Follow our topics carefully, examination question papers solved by us, manage time properly, present the answers properly as told by you. Definitely second year accounts you can score very well. One of the advantages of learning the second year account thoroughly, not only you score well in the second year, the same topics will carry even in BCom, first year and second year, BBA if you are having accountancy. Whatever professional course you study, CPT, CMA, foundation course or intermediate level course, if you are thorough with intermediate accounting, the advanced level same topics will be there in BCom, CA and CMA. So with these few words, I welcome all of you into this learning experience. I hope it will be a joyful experience. We can assure you of the best of service, and weekly once or once in 15 days we will be available live for question answer clarification. So if you have any doubts after our lectures are delivered in detail, this is just an introduction. Whatever questions you raise, we can answer them live. So we will not leave any topic with doubts. You can send a mail or you can telephone us, or in the live session you can ask us, and we are going to give you question papers, solve them. We are going to help you manage your time. We are going to help you manage your presentation. If you follow all these learning, presentation, management of time, presentation neatly and presentation completely, definitely learning will be of very pleasant experience. Performance will be very pleasant. The marks that you are going to get are going to be very pleasant. The knowledge you are going to get is going to make you very happy. So I encourage you to join into this happy learning experience. Thank you very much.